Welcome to Bunniphish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunniphish on Ravelry, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. Today is Sunday, the 26th of January 2020, and this is episode 3. I do not have a co-host today, as you can see her absence. She is downstairs with the boy child and the man child. And she's hanging out with them because they were giving her many scratches so that they could win whether she wanted to be with me or them. It's fine. Fine. So no Molly today. Administrative, there is going to be a spin along hosted over on Instagram in February by myself, and there was a whole video about it. The most recent before this upload on YouTube talks all about the rules, which there really aren't any, and gives more details. So I hope that if you spin at all, you will take part. And if you don't spin, there are still a couple mini challenges that I'm thinking about that have to do with hand spun, but not necessarily spinning. So keep an eye over on my Instagram for that, starting on February 1st through the end of February. And then Haley and I are thinking about doing another unofficial sort of knit along. Well, pause. So back to the spin along. There are now 3 prizes up for grabs for that. I'm offering $10 worth of patterns. Another lovely friend of the podcast has offered a spindle, and there's also a bump of fiber up for grabs. And as soon as I have pictures of those other things, I will share them on Instagram. So if you're interested at all, in spinning, head over there. Oh my goodness, clearly I'm talking too fast. So how was your week? My week has been super busy. Just so busy. I taught 2 classes yesterday. I'm teaching 2 classes this afternoon and evening. I worked in the school office all day on Friday. Very, very busy week, but not a bad week, just super busy. And plus, last week the kids didn't have school on Monday, which meant that I didn't have work on Monday, but I had 4 kids at home, so it was just threw off all of my stuff. Anyway, it must be the end of the month because I have a stack of finished objects. So first up, you can see behind me is my blanket that I was working on for the Make 30 for 30. So let's see, can you see? Yes, you can see over my shoulder. So that is the blanket. I used all 6 of my Burnap Blanket yarns that I had in stash, and I'm taking part in 3 year-long make-alongs, and this counts for, I think, 2 of them, maybe 3 of them, maybe all 3. I don't recall for sure. But I think I'm going to do, because I'm doing 3 of them this year, I think that at the end of every month, I am going to do an update video that's separate from podcasting about where I am on those goals and craft alongs and things. I think that would just work the best for me. So there's the blanket, and it is, I think it's over 1,200 yards. I think that's what Ravelry told me, but I looked at it last week. I don't remember. I'm pretty pleased with it. I think that even from this distance, you can tell that each section has a different pattern design to it. And I will insert some video here of a close-up of that. They are different Burnap blanket types, but it's all listed on my Ravelry pattern page as best I could, project page rather, as best I could figure out from a little bit of Google searching, and because not all of them had tags. I'm pretty pleased with it. It is almost as wide as my couch, not quite, and right there in the on the screen it's folded in half, so it's twice that length. It turned out pretty nice, if I do say so myself. And with that, I finished my Make 30 for 30, like that was the project that I was doing for it. But that still runs until the 2nd or 3rd of February. And I didn't want to just not take part in that challenge because I think that that would be a lot of fun to continue to push myself for 30 minutes every day on a specific project. So what I'm working on now, longtime viewers might remember this. This is the Beekeeper's Quilt on Ravelry by, I believe it's Tiny Owls Knits and Tiny Owl Knits. And I have a bunch of hexapods, which is what I call 3 hexapuffs together. So like this, this, and this. A bunch of those put together so that I would have a start on putting the blanket together. And I also have one long strip that's all put together. But it's not super portable, so it's not super easy to put together. Anyway, last year I wanted to put together, I think my goal was to put together 40 hexapods, and I did not, but I had put them in a blanket to put them together. So I'm taking this 30 minutes every day to sew another hexapod onto here. This is 2 days worth of progress. I did have a block put together already. I think I had this section over here already together. So I added this section. In the next week until this ends, I should be able to add quite a few to this to make progress. I like making hexapuffs. Those are really fun. They're really quick, instant gratification thing, but the sewing together, it's brutal for me. It's just not fun. It's like weaving in ends. Which brings me back to the unofficial craft along that is going to happen in March, which will also take place over on Instagram. I do not yet have a tag for it, but we're going to call it the Meh March craft along. So it's going to be a challenge sort of thing. I don't have any prizes for it, but the idea is in March, every day or as many days as you're able to, pick up and work on a project that you want to make progress on, but don't love working on for whatever reason, for a specified amount of time. Whatever you think is good. I am going to go with either 20 or 30 minutes. I should probably go with 30, but I think that 20 is going to be a little more realistic looking at my life schedule in March. So 20 minutes a day working on a project that you want the finished project, but you're not necessarily loving the process. So I'm going to be working on this for the month of March. I have another project that, in case I just get totally burnt out working on this one, I will work on that instead. It's another modular blanket. It's my barn raising square blanket, which is complete except for the seaming together. So I might bring that one out if I totally burn out on this, or if I somehow magically put all of these hexapuffs together, which could happen. Sometimes my son likes to help me sew them together, so if he puts in time on it as well, I could theoretically somehow magically get them all together, I think. Probably not. But yeah, so that'll be what I'm working on in March. So think about a project that you need a little bit of motivation to help finish. It could be a new project. If you want something and you know that you just need a craft along to complete it, like maybe you really want to make a certain sweater, but you know that the process is going to be blah, so you just kind of need quota knitting, do that in March. Whatever you want to do, it's loosey-goosey rules. I will probably put out a video explaining that sometime toward the middle or end of February with a hashtag and all that good stuff. So other finished things. I finished 2 pairs of socks completely, and another one is almost finished. So I'm counting it as finished this week. First up, I have the self-striping socks made out of the Advent Calendar yarn from Cozy Knitter. So this one is from 2018, and this one is from 2019. So last week I was right here above where I did the plain knitting before starting the foot, and from this green stripe up here down to this gray stripe, this light gray stripe down there, is the full pattern repeat. So these stripes were wider than these stripes. But I think they're really, really fun. I really like the idea of having non-matching matching socks using this pattern and the Advent skeins from the Cozy Knitter. The pattern is really easy to follow, although to be fair, I did not read heel or toe instructions. I just did a heel flap and gusset for the heel, and then I did my normal toe that fits my foot really, really well. But this pattern design on top is really easy. 2-row repeat. The second row is just knit everything, and it turns out really, really lovely. And look at how fun those jumps are in the stripes. I really, really like these socks. And I look forward to knitting another one of those socks next year, or at the end of this year, who knows. So the second pair of socks that I finished is this one right here. I don't know where I was last week on these socks. Did I have the first one finished? Did I have the second one started? I don't know. These are just shorty socks. They are the Scraposaurus sock pattern. That is my pattern, with a modifier of using half of the number of rows in the large chunk of color. I think I had the first one finished. No, I don't know. I was talking about the pink last week, which would be the heel. Maybe I was right before the heel, or I just started the heel. I don't remember. I did not have the first sock finished because I was talking about only needing this much to go. So I was probably somewhere in the heel. Isn't this fun, watching me try to figure out where I was last week? Whatever, it's fine. So I have both of these finished. And I have these, which I'm going to count as finished this week. All I have to do is do this duplicate stitch for the eyes on the unicorns, which will take me less than 10 minutes. I don't know how much less, but less than 10 minutes. But I really wanted to record. Oh, here comes my co-host. My co-host is back. They managed to keep her from me for about 15 minutes. Just shy. Very, very close. Good try, guys. I have about 10 minutes left of duplicate stitch, and then these socks are finished, so I'm not going to show them next week. And should have the pattern published sometime this coming week, before the end of January. So those are called unicorn tube socks, but there will be instructions to put in an afterthought heel, or yeah, there should be instructions should you want to do that. I'm not going to, because these are for my daughter, and she is 9, and that will be silliness because she'll just outgrow them if I put in a heel at this point. So on to works in progress. First up, I've made pretty good spinning progress. You can see that turtle is getting quite large, and trying to spin at least 15 minutes a day. I'm less successful than I would like to be, but I'm trying, and hopefully next month I will make a bunch of spinning progress. Any progress is better than zero progress though, right? Yeah. So our co-host has gone to get a sip of water, as one does when you're talking so much. So other things that I have been working on, my last my last project that I have been working on, okay, so I was going to say my last project that I started on January 1st, but that's not true because I have those leggings that I haven't worked on at all this month. But the last one that I'm going to make progress on and hopefully finish by the end of the month is the Aquaphobia socks. So these socks have slip stitch detail on the front, so when they are not on, they kind of bunch up, but when they're on, they rest more like this. And that's where I was last week. So I did all of this. Both socks are now through the heel. And then on this sock I did that much progress from here to here. So they're both through the heel. I've just picked up the gusset. I think I'm 2 rounds into gusset decreases on this sock. I'm debating whether I just want to knit all the way down the foot and the toe and call it good, or if I want to switch yarn again at the toe. I don't know. I'm probably just going to finish this sock and then move on to the other one. I have, 5 days left of the month and only 2 feet to knit on these Aquaphobia socks. Both of these socks should be finished by the end of the month. I am continuing the pattern down the top of the foot, but it's not a particularly difficult pattern, and I will be working on this during class today because it's a learn to knit class. So fairly confident that these can be done in the next 5 days. But I also did start another sock because maybe I can finish those 2 and eke out another. And I did not have the gusset stitches and stuff picked up yesterday before class. So I cast on a rise over run sock that I am again using those ZK mini skeins and Premier Serenity sock in black to knit. And isn't it cute? So I'm going to do the rainbow again, but I am going to do kind of a palindrome stripe effect because I have not a ton of this yellow. It may have been fine to do 6 garter ridges on both socks, but I didn't want to chance it. So I'm only going to end up doing 3 garter ridges. So I have, what is this? I have 6 black, 6 pink, 5 red, 4 orange. It's going to be 3 yellow, 4 green, 5 blue, 6 purple. And then I'm going to start the heel and foot. And Rise Over Run has this fun, it's in Target in the round, and it has this fun stripe of one color going down the, cutting across the colorful stripes. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this sock. Can I finish those 2 and this in the next, in the next 5 days? I don't know. But it's okay if this doesn't get finished then. It's mostly just so I have something easy, and this is simple enough that I can work on it at work too. So yeah, we'll see how far I get next week. And next Sunday when I meet up with you again, there is a pretty good chance that I'm going to have a whole slew of new cast-ons because it'll be the beginning of the month. And reading wise, I finished listening to A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms in my car. Liked it a lot. Very good. Very intriguing as all of the, what are you? As all of the Game of Thrones stories are. I started listening to the collection that I had from George R.R. Martin. I listened to the intro in my car, but then I'm using my TV to provide lights because I don't have lights, and it just timed out to a screensaver. Okay, anyway, I started listening to, yes, the intro, got through the intro, but I went to the library and I had a book on hold. I read the book The Cruel Prince in December, I think. And it's the first book of a trilogy, and I have had the second book on hold since the 10th of January. And so I went on the website to see what place I was in to get that book, because every once in a while I like to check in on my holds. So I went online to see when that hold was going to come in so I could get an idea of whether I should start a different book or what I should do. And it looks like it's not in circulation anymore. Bummer. But they did have the audiobook version. So I picked up The Wicked King by Holly Black, which is the second book in the trilogy. And bonus, they had the third book in audiobook form on CD. And I had put myself on the wait list for the third book, but I was like person, I don't know, 30 on the wait list for that. Or I could just listen to it in my car when I'm teaching, because where I'm teaching right now, like yesterday I did probably an hour and a half of driving for teaching. Gross, but it was fine. Maybe not that long, maybe just an hour. So I get a lot of listening in on that time. I also finished the Expats on audio format. This is just really nice. This format is really nice for parent pickup line. Also, when I'm cleaning around my house or waiting in a classroom for students to show up, I can just listen to an audiobook on Playaway. I'll be starting Clan of the Cave Bear today. And then this is just Gabriel's book that he finished this week that I need to return with these when I drive by the library later. Not this one, not returning Wicked King. And I also started, I think I started this since last time I saw you, The Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. And it's okay so far. I think that if I had not heard so much hype about it before I read it, I would like it more. But so many people are like, oh my gosh, I love this series. And again, this is just the first book in the series. So maybe once I get into more books in the series, I will like it even better. And I'm not super far in. I'm only 120, I want to say 128 pages in. Yeah, 128 pages in. So I'm still learning the characters, you know, what they're like. It's about an assassin who is competing to be the king's champion. It's elimination style competition. Yeah, I look forward to seeing how it goes. So the back of the book, which I haven't read until right now as I've been showing you, it says, you can't really see that, it says, 2 men love her, the whole land fears her, only she can save them all. So I'm kind of interested to see which 2 men love her, because there are kind of 3 men who could fall into that category in the story so far. So we'll see who loves her and who just is part of her sphere. Should be interesting. I do enjoy reading it. This is what I'm reading with my kids during reading time. I really need to pick up a couple of my nonfiction books though and read through those because they're due back soon. So maybe you'll see those next week. Okay, that's all I have for you. I hope you join in on our spin along next month and let me know what you're working on. I will try to get another video up for you later this week. We shall see if I'm able to do that. All about year-long craft-alongs that I'm taking part in. And I will see you next week. Bye!